what is this year going to look like for Miami? What's the theme of this year is what I really want to get down to. Now, we did a video on the whole state of Florida, kind of going through the used to be Big Three, now the Big Four, adding UCF to the party. But I want to take a deeper dive into what's going on at Miami. Because for Miami, the purpose of this year in my mind is kind of reprogramming what people believe the U to be. Like last year, what Miami did is not what Mario Cristobal was going to be, in my belief, long-term in Coral Gables. Like, he's not signing off on a 5-7 season. Nobody is. So that's the good news. The bad news is now in your second year, the criticism is a lot more valid, I think, than what you got last year. Because last year, it's like, hey, new head coach, new culture. Yeah, your quarterback was banged up. Yeah, there were some things that weren't great about, your offense as a whole. And so you've kind of readjusted now, both the staff and through the portal. And now there's no more, it's just the first year. Now it's like, hey, let's see something here. You just revamped this whole operation. Let's see some return on investment here in 2023. And it doesn't need to be a thing where you win the national championship, but there is some sort of feel of like, all right, the time is sort of, I don't want to say the time is now, because even that feels a little bit too knee-jerk of a reaction and too much of a prisoner of the moment. But there is some feel for, let's go win 8 games. Let's go win 9 games. Let's go prove that Miami is going to be a player here in the ACC and a player here on the recruiting trail in the state of Florida. And like I was saying, a big part of that is you have the quarterback coming back. Sounds like Bama wanted your quarterback. If anything, that should be a vote of confidence, but you kept him in Coral Gables. That's awesome. Retooled the offensive line. We've talked about it a lot. I'll talk about it again. You got 3 new pieces from Francis Mauigoa to the 2 transfers that are going to, in theory, improve what you had on the offensive line. Couldn't run the ball, couldn't pass block. That shouldn't be the case this coming season. You got a new OC you believe in Shannon Dawson. Like, you see what I'm saying here? All these pieces for Miami are tweaked, obviously, in accordance to trying to win more football games. And the expectation is you would do that this coming season. So we've burned the red shirt is what I'm trying to talk about. We've burned the red shirt. This year is about who is Miami. Who is Miami going to be, and who are they going to be going forward in the Mario Cristobal era? We'll talk more about this in a second. But make sure you're subscribed right here, because we talk college football every single day. Very, very glad to have you a part of this. We're going to talk tomorrow live, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. It's going to be a good time now. We'll get in the live chat, answer some of y'all's questions. Going to go through some predictions. Like, I'm just saying, hit the bell on this channel so you don't miss when we go live. You can also find out about that on my socials, at JD Piquel on Twitter, as well as on Instagram. So thank you in advance for that. Now, the long-term impacts of this coming season is the recruiting trail, because the state of Florida now is a hotbed. I mean, look across the SEC. Look at those teams that have competed for national titles, and they usually do it with a lot of players on their roster from South Florida. And so for the state of Florida, I don't think it's a stretch to say kids would more often than not, maybe not more often than not, kids, a solid portion of these talented kids in the state of Florida are looking for a reason to stay home. And so you add UCF into the mix, which is kind of a wild card. But you look at the previous, what were the big 3. You got Miami, Florida State, and Florida. Florida State, as of last year, the top dog. It's not going to make us popular with the good people in Coral Gables for us saying that, but like, hey, records lie, or records don't lie. Men lie, women lie, records don't lie. FSU is cooking with gas, and it hasn't translated to the recruiting trail just yet, but if they were to have the year they expect to have, you would imagine that would start paying dividends on the recruiting trail. For Florida, say what you want about Billy Napier, they prioritize recruiting. Time of us recording this right now, they have a number 5 ranked class in the 2024 On3 industry team recruiting rankings. Okay, so I know it's a long way to go till signing day, but Billy Napier is making a point to recruit. JD, why are you saying all this? I'm saying there's a sense of urgency here with Miami to produce something on the field to then take and pitch to these recruits. Because Florida State, they're going to start cooking. They've already been cooking a little bit here. Florida, they're not going to stay down. UCF, like I said, Gus Malzahn has played coached at the highest level. They're going to be a team to watch here now. For Miami, you don't want to get left behind. This is a year where you prove, okay, the U with Mario Cristobal now is not going to be what you saw last year. It's going to be something much, much different. And that's kind of the thing I want to talk about. Like, everybody talks so much about Miami from the U in the 80s. And they should talk about that team, right? They should talk about that era with Miami. It was a golden age of Hurricane football. But Mario Cristobal understands that, and at the same time, he's creating his own legacy at Miami. Like, my feeling is Mario Cristobal understands and appreciates and respects what Miami has been, and he wants to bring Miami back, but in a different way. Like, history is one thing, but Mario Cristobal, I think, is creating his own movie. It's not the sequel. It's just a completely different movie as a whole. So when it comes to what they're going to do in year 2, I'm excited because I think we actually get a glimpse at what Mario Cristobal's Miami is going to be. And will it be a finished product? I don't think so. I mean, from year 1 to year 2, that would be saying a lot. But even so, you look at what he did at Oregon. They went from 9-4 to 12-2 from year 1 to year 2. Now, those are different rosters, those are different situations. But we had Mario Cristobal on this very show, had a one-on-one interview with him. And before we got started, he was talking to us. He was like, hey, we had a couple of brothers that were on that team, the Sewell brothers. One played on the offensive line, one played linebacker, and we had a returning quarterback. His name's Justin Herbert, currently tearing it up in the NFL. He was just saying, I don't know, last time this kind of formula happened, worked out pretty well for us. Now, I wouldn't go as so far to say that Mario Cristobal's making a prediction or saying anything about, what his team's going to be in 2023. But I would just say this. There was a very subtle smirk and a very subtle tone in his voice when he referred to the situation they had right now in Coral Gables. I think there's a very quiet confidence in Mario Cristobal for what his team's going to be in 2023. And I'm very, very excited to see it because we hear so much about culture and the way he does things and the edge that he's going to try and create in the trenches. And I am bought into that 100%. So for Miami fans, this is a year where I don't think you need to just win the ACC or play for a national title. Like, of course, you would take that without question. But this year, I think, is about reprogramming for everybody in the country what Miami is going to be under Mario Cristobal. You'll see dividends on the recruiting trail, and I think you'll see a different product than you've seen in the past this coming season. So we're less than 100 days away. We're live tomorrow morning. Again, don't miss it. I want you here, all right? So come back, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning. Tuesdays, Thursdays, we're live as it gets, baby. Live and live in color. We'll get in the live chat. We'll have a good time. Make sure you're following me on the social channels as well, at JD Piquel, Twitter, Instagram. Going to keep you in the know. A lot of stuff we do there that we incorporate here. All right, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all, man. We're going to keep this party rolling. We'll see y'all tomorrow morning. We will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.